Hello Year 5 and welcome to Thursday's tutorial, the last tutorial of the week, the last tutorial of the half term. Today is D-Day, our exciting opportunity to get to write our own poem in the style of the Lost Words for an animal of our choice. So, I wanted to first share with you two poems for me in this book that I really enjoy, just for you to sort of use as a waggle and for you to see sort of the expectation of you and what your poem should end up being like. So first of all, I really like Magpie because it's short, it reads quite quickly and it's very spell-like. Magpie manifesto: argue every toss, gossip, bicker, yak and snicker all day long, pick a fight in an empty room, interrupt, interject, intercept, intervene. Every magpie for every magpie against every other walking, flying, swimming, creeping creature on the earth. So really quick, short phrases, and that one gives me a real sense of sort of what a magpie is like in terms of its personality. I like Weasel on the other side of the page here because it gives me a really lovely description of sort of the colours and how the weasel moves and what the animal is like. Weasel whirls through the world like wildfire. Embers spin, smoke curls, for weasel acts on land like spark on tinder. Scorches grass, turns fields to pyre, sand to glass and tree to cinder. Eats air, burns shadow, lights the sky, hot wires the sun with its speed, its dance, its guise. So I just wanted you to think and have these sort of in your mind to show you that you can talk about sort of its personality or a more physical description, and this weasel focuses very much on how this creature moves. So I wanted to also remind you before we start, in terms of expectation, what your poem is going to be. It is going to be descriptive, it is going to include the description that we looked at, expanded noun phrases. It's going to include some figurative language. What it's not going to be is rushed and single word. Description, single word. What it should be, what it shouldn't be. Okay? So back to my example. I'm going to model how I would approach this. I'm going to write a poem for Badger, and then it is over to you to complete your own acrostic poem for your teachers to read. So let's remind you of what I've got. I've got pictures, I've got words, I've got colours, and I need to use these to my advantage, otherwise yesterday's session is a waste of time. So please make sure that you use your mood boards, please make sure that you're using the work you've done this week, your annotations. Can you magpie anything? Can you use all of the stuff that you did last week? Can you pick and use any of the any of the figurative language you used? Can you use any of the bits from other poems? Do those apply to your creatures that you're doing? Make sure you have your work around you like you would in school. Use it to your advantage. These aren't just single lessons. It is still a journey of learning, and all of the things that lead up to your writing are tools that you can use and that they will help you. So let's get started. I've put up here for me figurative language and description because I just needed a reminder. Those are the two things that I need. Now, as I said, starting your lines with a word that begins with the letter that you should as an acrostic can be quite difficult sometimes. So sometimes it's easier just to write your sentences and then come back to it and see if you can slot another word in, a synonym in at the beginning, or a word before that begins with it. So don't panic too much about the acrostic to start off with. Get your description and then you can always go back. That's my tip number 1 if you're struggling with the first letter of each line. Now I think I'm going to be okay, so I'm going to sort of head in. The first thing I want to talk about is the badger's set, where it lives, because I think that will give a really nice introduction. So I was going to picture on one of my videos I watched about badger, it was in a tree, this set. So I was going to say underneath the tree, but actually I thought of a word then that began with B, beneath. So I'm all ready to roll, and I'm being descriptive. So I don't want to say underneath the tree, I'm saying beneath the dark, dank, I need a comma in there, dank undergrowth of green. Now I'm not telling my reader that that is a tree. I'm painting a picture of darkness, a bit of green. So if someone were to come back and annotate this poem and draw a little image, then they'd have probably a dark shadow with a bit of green underneath. So beneath the dark, dank undergrowth of green. A. Oh, that's a good start. A badger. But I don't want to say a badger, I want to describe it. And badgers normally live alone, so I'm going to use a word solitary. So a solitary. I don't want to necessarily say solitary badger yet, so I might just say a solitary animal. Oh, I've already described the animal with an adjective, so if I say where it is in the shadows, I've got an expanded noun phrase. And what's it doing in the shadows? Well, it doesn't like to be seen, so it's hiding. Hides. And then I want to say you don't really see one very often. Oh, seldom. Seldom to be seen. So we've got beneath the dark, dank undergrowth of green, a solitary animal in the shadow hides, seldom to be seen. Oh, green and seen actually rhyme. That's useful. So I need to remember now actually my figurative language. So what I find easy is similes. So I'm going to try and do similes. Now, what words do I know that begin with a D that could describe badgers? Well, they're quite laid back unless they're provoked. So I'm going to use a word called docile. So docile badgers. Well, I don't want to say badgers, it's just one. Docile badger lays in wait, because he's waiting for night time, because I know he's nocturnal. Lays in wait. And then how, he doesn't want to tell anyone he's there, so he's as quiet as a mouse. Bit of a cliche, but works. And he doesn't want to be moving, so I might say as still. Now I'm recording this and it was really frosty this morning, and sometimes you can still say that the morning frost is still, so I might say as still as the morning frost. And there we go, we've got two examples of similes. Docile badger lays in wait, as quiet as a mouse, as still as the morning frost. So what's it going to be doing? It's waiting. I'm now going to, in my head, it's now night time and he wants to come out. So badger sets are quite small, they're quite tubby animals. So I might say as he comes out he's grunting, sighing, like ooh, and then he pulls himself out. And you notice I've used he because in the poem we looked at yesterday for wren, or the day before, it referred to the wren as a she, so I can refer to it as a he or a she, and that's me copying and mimicking the style of the poet. So grunting, sighing, he pulls himself out. And then I'm going to use a trick from Magpie where they just listed lots of words. So what is he going to do that evening? He's going to be searching, finding, hunting, and thinking. Grunting, sighing, he pulls himself out, and then he starts searching, finding, hunting, thinking. But I'd quite like that, I think, to be a sentence on its own. E. So he's now mid-hunt, my badger. Ooh, So if he's hunting, they're going to be his enemies. Enemies beware. As the marauder. I'm only using that word because I watched Harry Potter last night. Enemies beware as the marauder does come. So that is me saying that he's on his way. And then he's on his way. What colours? Well, it was grey, black, white. I don't really want to say that. But if all of those moved quite quickly together, I'm going to say a flash of silver. And there's sort of a little bit of personification in the fact that I'm saying it has these human-like qualities. And a flash of silver. And you are done. The reason I use done there rather than dead or finished or is it sort of rhymes with, it's a para rhyme for come. So enemies beware as the marauder does come, flash of silver and you are done. Doesn't fully rhyme, but it is a para rhyme. So now in my head, my badger has finished his hunt and he wants to return. Oh, there you go, return home. So returns to safety. Definitely not T safety. Returns to safety, and I want to finish this properly. So when, well, he's nocturnal, so as day breaks. And what's he going to do? Probably eat. Ready to, I don't want to say eat, ready to feast. Down to its set. Goes this fascinating beast. And the reason I've used beast is it sort of rhymes with feast and it helps that rhythm. So there is my poem about the badger. Is there description? Yeah. Dark, dank undergrowth, shadows. I've said there's a flash of silver. Days breaking, fascinating beast. Is there figurative language? Well, yeah, I've said as quiet as a mouse, as still as the morning frost. I've said he's a marauder, so that's sort of metaphorical. And then there's some personification-like qualities. So your task now is to continue or start to write your own acrostic poem. Please do not forget your mood boards. Please do not forget all the hard work you've done for the last 2 weeks to build up to this. What it is not is single words. What it is a really lovely description of your creature. I'm super excited to read what you come up with, as I'm sure are the other teachers. So please don't forget to submit them and have a lovely rest of your day.